microorganisms. Okay, now, and uh, and we have been discussing about the characteristics of different microorganisms, what are the uses of different microorganisms, and how they are harmful to us. So far we have talked about the bacteria. So we did categorize bacteria into different groups. Also, in general, we did talked about like there are different types of cells. Like in this image, you can see that this is what I was talking about when I said about eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. Sundar, are you back? Are you back in the class?
Yes, I'm back.
Yeah. So this is what I was talking about. Yeah, Khadija, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, I'm good also. So look at the given image here. Look at the given animation. So what basic difference you would found between a eukaryote and a prokaryotic cell is that prokaryotic were the cells that were the first to emerge on Earth. So their recording dates back to almost 3.5 billion years ago. So they are the oldest kind of cells. Even to this day, we find such kind of cells like bacteria, eukarya, archaebacteria. Those are the examples of prokaryotic cells, while all others, including we humans. Are we humans prokaryotic or eukaryotic?
Eukaryotic.
Eukaryotic. And look at the organization in the cell. Obviously, you will find that this has got more organized structure, isn't it? While a prokaryote does not seem to have a organized structure. So that was another thing. Then we did talked about different groups of bacteria. So bacteria have been majorly classified into 4 groups: Bacillus, Vibrio, cocci, and Spirilla. Do tell me which one of them is the comma-shaped bacteria? Vibrio. Good. Okay, who will tell me which one of them is the rod-shaped bacteria?
Is it
Rod-shaped. Bacillus. Everyone saying Bacillus? Yes?
Yes.
Bacillus is the correct one. Then you do tell me which one is the spherical shaped bacteria? It's the cocci. Okay, now we have example like Streptococcus right now. Spirilla, spiral shaped right now. From the name also it is evident. Okay, then we had we did discuss about different uses of bacteria and what are the harms of bacteria. So I did told you about some of the common bacteria and the disease that are caused by them. So for example, we did talk in the previous class. Also, the ones which I'm highlighting, only those ones are important for you, not everyone. Okay, now, like starting from here, like diphtheria, dysentery, diphtheria, cholera, then typhoid, pneumonia, and tuberculosis. And the causative agent basically refers to the bacteria that are responsible for causing these diseases. And their names are as follows right now. So the one which I will be highlighting, now make sure that you try to at least memorize them. For cholera, it is very important. Typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi. Pneumonia is caused by Streptococcus pneumoniae. And tuberculosis is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Hope you guys would remember these. Okay, now. Have you guys heard of this bubonic plague? Bubonic plague, also called as Black Death. Anyone heard of this?
No, sir.
No. See,
No.
it is a very this was a disease called as bubonic plague. Nowadays it is not common, but bubonic plague was very common. Okay, now bubonic plague was very common. Like for example, this resulted in the death of almost 50 million people in Europe. This was a plague that was widespread in European countries in the 14th century. Just like you recently have witnessed the COVID pandemic, right? All of us witnessed this COVID pandemic. So there was pandemics earlier also. So it was one of the pandemic which had so many mortality. Mortality means that the death rate, how many people are dying. So almost
So
50
was
million.
it more dangerous than COVID-19?
See, in order to look like, was it more dangerous or less dangerous? I would say it was more dangerous. The reason is that because back in the 14th century, vaccines were not developed at that time that much. Vaccines were not available. Proper healthcare facilities were not available. So that made it very worse. Okay, now. So bubonic plague was caused by this bacteria. That's the name of the bacteria is Yersinia pestis, although it is not important. Then bacteria will be targeting different organs in your body. It will be targeting particular organ or particular lymph nodes or particular glands in your body right now. So for example, you know that cholera, as I told, it will be causing infection in the small intestine. How it happens? If you consume contaminated food and water right now, or fecal oral route, like for example, somehow, for example, like the fecal matter, like the human waste, somehow it ends up a very tiny portion of it, a very negligible tiny portion of it, somehow enters into the food and water of the person. So then also there's a threat of cholera right now, and this will lead to severe diarrhea and dehydration. Diarrhea is passing off liquid waste, too much of liquid waste from the body right now, both from the anus and from the both in the form of liquid and solid waste. Then you have dehydration. What does dehydration mean? Simply, what is dehydration?
Get thirsty a lot of
Mm-hmm.
get thirsty a lot of times.
Feeling thirsty, not in particular, it is dehydration. Dehydration basically refers to loss of too much amount of water from the body. Not just water, loss of electrolytes also, right? Like you have got so many important minerals and salts in your body as well. So along with water, you will be losing salts and minerals also. So that is what happens in the case of dehydration. Then we did talked about typhoid also caused by this Salmonella typhi. It also attacks the intestine, and it will also be, it's a waterborne disease. It spreads from use of contaminated water and food. Normally, the conditions are as follows: headache, abdominal discomfort, fever, diarrhea. That is a problem. Abdominal discomfort basically refers to discomfort in your stomach region, in stomach, right now. Then pneumonia, it will be infecting the lungs, right? And how it happens? Like if someone were to be suffering from pneumonia, and if the person sneezes in the air, so he will be sneezing tiny droplets of water in the air, and someone were to inhale that, so thereby that healthy person will also now be infected from the pneumonia right now. The person suffering from pneumonia will have high fever, cough, painful breathing, and brown sputum. Getting it or not? Yes.
Yes,
What
sir.
is brown sputum here? Yes. Like what could be brown sputum here? See, basically brown sputum is basically, it's a like phlegm. You guys understand this or not? Phlegm, what is this phlegm? Like along with coughing, sometime a thick whitish liquid comes out of the mouth. While coughing, sometimes it happens. While sometimes you're coughing, so you would be coughing this white, thick liquid from your mouth. Everyone getting it now? What I'm trying to say? Like you have dry cough, then you have in a cough in which phlegm also comes out. So in this case, what will happen? Brown phlegm will come if the person is suffering from pneumonia. Everyone getting this or not? Hope I'm audible to everyone. Why you guys are not
Yes,
replying?
sir. Yeah.
Now the question comes like, why it will be brown? Particularly, it will be brown if there were to be some dead blood cells in it. You know, the blood cells are red in color, particularly the red blood cell is red in color, RBCs. So it will be because of dead red blood cells, the phlegm will be brown in color. So hope you guys have understood this. Then tuberculosis. It is caused due to which bacteria? The name of the bacteria, pronounce it. What's the pronunciation? Gauri, what is the name of bacteria?
Some Mycobacterium tuberculosis. No.
Tuberculosis, okay. It infects lungs. It is also transmitted by infected water droplets. Getting it now? Thick mucopurulent nasal discharge. Basically, just understand that there will be a discharge of thick liquid from the nose in simple terms. Then we did talked about fungi. You guys mentioned what are uses of fungi? Starting from you, Khadija. Quickly. We are just revising and we have to discuss more topics. What are uses of fungi?
For making of antibiotics in baking.
Repeat again.
For baking.
Baking. Okay. What exactly do you use in baking?
For yeast.
Good. Then yes. Sundus, you can also mention some uses of fungi. Guys, don't take this much time.
So
there are some.
Alcohol.
Repeat again.
So yeast is used in making alcohol.
Alcohol, yeah. There also it is used. Basically, yeast is used in alcohol. In which process? The name of process starts from F. That is
Fermentation.
Fermentation. Good. And then you have some edible fungi also. Yes. Okay. Anyone remembers in the previous class we did talk about penicillin, the first antibiotic? Yes.
Yes,
Who? So fungi is used in the preparation of penicillin also, in preparation of antibiotics such as penicillin. There are other antibiotics also. Just one of them is this penicillin. Okay, now. Also, one important thing I would like to add in today's class, like fungi. Also, one thing here. See, this is the fungi that was used for the preparation of antibiotic called as penicillin. Okay, now. So if someone asks you which fungi was used for the preparation of penicillin by Alexander Fleming, the answer is which one? The name is? Hello.
Penicillin.
Penicillium. Okay, now. Another important thing I would like to add here is that certain fungi are a rich source of vitamin C. Okay, now. Certain fungi which are edible, they are a rich source of vitamin C. And vitamin C are it is very important for your immune system. It is very important. So certain fungi are a good source of vitamin C. Okay, now. So hope you guys have understood it. Then do tell me, what are the harms caused by fungi? Starting from you, Gauri. What are the harms caused by fungi?
So they can spoil the food, like they can spoil that bread.
Good. And did we not talked about like they can create some diseases and cause some disease in humans? They will be causing some disease in plants also. Yes, Gauri, Sundus, and Khadija. Like, did you talk or did you recall this one over here? I did showed some images in the previous class also.
Actually,
like this one.
Something.
Very good. See, this athletes were and Look at ringworm right now. So normally when the person will have such infections now, like what is the sign, what is the symptom of fungal infection? If some person develops fungal infection, also fungus particularly targets the skin. So irritation will develop on the skin, scaly skin, like the skin cells will start to die and it will lose the moisture. So skin will become scaly. It will be a scaly skin. Itching will happen, swelling, redness, blisters. So these are some of the common systems of fungal infections. Whether it is a ringworm of athlete's foot, that can be only told after doctor analyzes it. So these two are some of the common disease caused by fungi in humans, namely the athlete's foot and ringworm. So ringworm is one of the most common fungal disease in humans. Appearance of dry, scaly lesions on the skin, nails, and scalp are the main symptoms of the disease. And in this, what happens? Heat and moisture help these fungi to grow and makes them to thrive in skin folds, such as those in the groin or between the toes. And then ringworm of the feet is known as athlete's foot. So see, the ringworm that will be infecting the foot now, the type of ringworm, like ringworm also has got different types of species. Try to understand what I'm trying to say. So those type of ringworm, those species of ringworms that infects the foot, they are called as athlete's foot, and they are caused by Tinea pedis. This is the species of ringworm. Again, this thing is not important for your class, but just for the sake of clarity, I have written it over here. Okay, now then how you can acquire these? How someone can acquire this disease? It can be acquired from the soil or by using the clothes that are dirty, towels, or comb that are used by the infected person. So normally it is advised that playing in the soil is not healthy right now. So that is the thing. Hope you guys have understood these things. Okay. In the previous class, we did started to talk a little bit about algae. You all must have seen it somewhere. So algae are plant-like organisms which are usually aquatic in nature. They are found to be living in places of moisture. Wherever moisture is present, they will be found to be living there. And now they are photosynthetic in nature. The reason is that they possess the green pigment, that is chlorophyll. Hence, they are able to perform photosynthesis. So thereby, they are autotrophic or heterotrophic. They are autotrophic. Autotrophic. Auto means self, troph means nourishment. So they are able to provide nourishment to themselves using the process of photosynthesis. Okay, now another important characteristics about the algae is that they can be unicellular, made up of just one cell, or they can be multicellular as well. Okay, now then these are the common examples of algae which we have: diatoms, chlamydomonas, and seaweed. You can look at them. Some other images of algae are here. Now you see that algae also has got different uses. Okay, no? Algae has got different uses. Let's understand what are the uses of algae. How we can use algae. Like algae can be used is nowadays being used as food to make different food products. Algae is being used. Hmm? Algae is used as a bioplastic also. Getting it now? Like using some algae, you can produce polymers, and using those polymers, you can replace the use of certain kind of plastics. Have you guys studied this chapter, synthetic fibers? Synthetic fibers, natural fibers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You guys have studied that, no? Very good. So in that chapter, you guys must have studied about monomer, polymers. Yeah. Okay, now. So you guys must have studied, I believe. Like, let me revise that. For example, you take a tiny piece of this thread. You have a piece of thread. Now, when you zoom it under an electron microscope, or just you view it very closely under a microscope, you will find that it is made up of very tiny substances which are joined from each other. These are called as monomers. A single unit is called as monomers. And while the chain of these units that are connected to each other, they are called as polymer. So that this together will be called as polymer. Okay, now. Then algae are nowadays being used in fertilizers also. In certain cosmetic products also it is being used. It is used to control pollution also. Then it is used in the purification of wastewater as well. So there are different uses of algae. By the way, in the beginning, I did took some name of some common algae which we have. Here is a close-up look of this Chlamydomonas, and then this one more, Spirogyra. There's one interesting thing I would like to tell you about this Spirogyra. You know what? If this Spirogyra gets split into different pieces now, let's say that it breaks from here. It breaks from here. So what is going to happen? Each piece will develop into a new Spirogyra. Like this, each piece of this Spirogyra will grow into a new Spirogyra. So that is called as fragmentation. Okay, now. Getting it what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Each individual piece will grow into a new Spirogyra. Okay, now there are like you might have noticed this thing in the lizards, like, but that is a different thing. Just let me tell you that interesting thing. Like, have you ever seen that? Exactly. Very good, Santosh. So basically, in their tails, in the tail of the lizard, regenerative cells are found. Regenerative cells are found here. So each time they will be growing, they are able to grow their tails back. But does that happen in the case of their head or in their limbs? No, because only in their tail regenerative cells are found, right? While here the process is called as fragmentation, in which new organism, the whole organism is able to grow out of it right now. Similarly, you have some other organisms in nature also, like if they get cut, if some part of their body gets cut, they can grow back. Okay, now, like, do you guys know that how Hydra grows? Have you guys have heard of Hydra? Yes.
Heard it, it's getting on mind, but I don't.
It's
Yes,
a
sir.
green color organism. Okay, now, see in that basically what happens now. See, see, it's a green color organism like this, kind of looks like this. Yes, are you guys able to recall? Seen it somewhere? Like in textbooks, in your books, you might have seen this image.
Yes, sir.
See
In
what?
seventh,
Mm-hmm. Good.
it's in
In,
chapter.
mhm.
I forgot. I
Okay, okay,
think
no issue.
reproduction of plants, sir.
In reproduction of plants, you might have studied this. Good, good. Okay, now, see, basically in this, what will happen? A tiny bird will start to grow from here. Right now, it will start to grow, and later on, it will detach from its parent, and now it will again start to grow into a new Hydra. Right now, so in that ways, also living organisms grow. Anyways, so those are the different things. We were basically talking about the examples of algae. So these are some of the common examples. You have Chlamydomonas, you have a Spirogyra. Apart from, you have some more examples like diatoms and seaweed are also. So let me write them in this slide as well. Like you can include them as Spirogyra as well. So hope you guys are getting it. Let's understand what are the uses of algae. Okay, now This is a tiny sample of algae, and this woman is actually using it to prepare biofuel from it. You guys understand what does a biofuel mean? Hmm? Like ever heard of this biofuel? Yeah,
Can you repeat the term?
biofuel, BIOFUEL. One is fuel. Then what is biofuel? Okay, now. Okay, so we will understand that, but let's first of all understand the uses of algae. One moment. It is used in making fertilizers. Then, as I told you, it is used in making biofuel, in biodiesel. It is used to make a bioplastic. It is used in making of different type of cosmetics, different type of cosmetics, and then it is also used as a food also. Right now, it is used as food/food products. Then it will be used as a feeding material for certain animals also. Particularly, it will be used as a feeding material for chicken, for fishes, and for some other pets also. So food for animals, and then it will be used in the pharmaceutical industry also, basically in manufacture of certain kind of medicines also. So let's add that also in medicines. So these are some of the uses of algae. Getting it now? These are some of the common uses of algae which we have. So let's first of all understand how they are being used in fertilizers. Let's talk how they are used in fertilizer. Now, as you know that algae, they are a rich source of different kind of nutrients right now. So traditionally also they have been used as fertilizers for crops. Earlier also they were being used for certain farmers, by some farmers, as fertilizers. And algae, what they will be basically doing, they would be collecting the algae, they would dry the algae, they would make a powder of algae, and they would be spreading it in the crop field. Either they would spread it directly, or either they will make a mixture out of it. They will make a solution of it in water and then spread it. Getting it, guys? On
Sir,
the
can you
other,
explain it again?
yeah, sure. As we were talking about how we use it how we use it as a fertilizer. Now, what basically I say that algae are a rich source of different type of nutrients. Not just nutrients, they consist of different type of organic materials also. So know that algae are a rich source of essential nutrients and organic matter. So farmers have been using it. Although you won't see that, you won't find widespread use of algae as fertilizers, but wherever it is growing, wherever it is available, farmers who have knowledge of this, they would be using it. What they would do, they would first of all dry this algae. They would be sun drying it. Basically, they dry it, they make a powder out of it, they basically grind it, and then they would be spreading it on the crop field. Spread in crop field. So this would add the essential nutrients in the soil. Okay, now basically, uh, in the mainstream we have been using the chemicals, we have been using the synthetic fertilizers, right? So these organic fertilizers, these algae, which is an organic fertilizer, they are considered a very good alternative to the synthetic fertilizers that we have been using, because they are a rich source of nutrients. By nutrients, I mean all the essential nutrients, whether it be the not all of them, but pretty much everyone. Pretty much, like we know that 17 to 18 essential nutrients are required by the plants. So out of them, it will be consisting somewhere between 15 to 16 nutrients are found in them. So it consists of macro and the uh, um, uh, it consists of micro and macronutrients both right now. So hence it is being used by the farmers as a fertilizer. So another important thing is that they are a potential, or we can say that they are a good alternative to synthetic fertilizers. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes.
The image here, don't get it confused with this fertilizer. It's a algae that is being prepared as a biofuel. Okay. Another thing, let's understand about this biofuel, how it is being used as a biofuel. Now, different kind of fuels that you have, that you guys know, like you have coal, you have petrol, you have diesel, you have kerosene oil, you have natural gas, right? So all these different kind of fuels that you see, all of them are carbon rich. All of them consist of carbon in it, isn't it? Yeah. So this algae is also having lots of carbon in it. Algae biofuels that are made up of algae, they are also having lots of carbon in it. Getting at what I'm trying to say? Okay, now. So certain kind of algae are nowadays being harvested and they are now being converted into biofuel. Biofuel in particular, I am talking about the biodiesel. How it is being created and how it is being the process is quite complex, but I will try to simplify it for you guys. See, the thing is basically like in the production of this fuel now, we would be using different kind of waste from the farm. We'll be using different kind of agricultural waste. For example, you can use the maize, you can use other products from the farmland that will not be thrown up, that is rotten or that is infected. So we can use the rotten materials from the farm, like you can use maize. Along with maize, you would be taking up this algae as the waste material right now. So you would be using those waste from the farmland and you'd be using the algae, and you would be taking those kind of food also which consist of sugar in it right now. So using all this, we would be preparing a substance called as bioethanol. So bioethanol is prepared in this process, and thereby it is further used as a fuel. I will try to simplify it. Basically, the concept of production of biofuel is that, because the advantage of the production of biofuel is that it will leave very less residue. It will create less pollution. That's why we are preparing biofuel using from algae. The process is quite complex, but just understand that biofuel is being prepared from the algae. Thereby, we would be using different waste from the farmland, like we would be using the waste, maize, wheat, or rice, or different other components from the farmland. Hope you guys are able to understand this. Getting it, guys, what I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no?
I didn't get.
Just remember this thing, now, guys. Just keep this in mind that algae are used to prepare biofuel. Biofuel is basically what? Just keep this thing in mind also. Like biofuel is basically a fuel that will leave a very less amount of residue. It will not create much pollution. So just that much will be sufficient, I believe. There was one more thing I needed to add. Yeah, I have already written it here now. Bioplastic. Let's understand a bit about this bioplastic also. See, algae, they can naturally create the different kind of polymers. We have you guys must have studied in your earlier classes about different kind of polymers. Like you have synthetic polymers, right? Like you have clothes like rayon, you have acrylic. These are some of the synthetic polymers, isn't it? These clothes consist of synthetic polymers in them. Is that line clear to all of you or not? First, tell me this.
So can you repeat it again?
Yeah. You have got synthetic fibers like rayon, and acrylic, a polyester. These are
Yes,
synthetic
sir.
clothes. Yes. Okay. So their polymers are also called as synthetic polymers, right now. So they consist of synthetic polymer in them. Then you have got fibers like cotton and silk. So they have got natural polymers in them, isn't it? Is that
Yes,
clear?
sir.
Okay. Then talking about this algae, algae is also able to create natural polymers, right now. So thereby they offer a lot of potential for the manufacture of bioplastic manufacturing. Also, when you talk about synthetic polymer in this in the chapter, you guys must have studied about plastics also. Yeah. So plastics are also made up of polymers, isn't it? When you look at the plastic, when you look at a microscopic level, in the case of plastics also, you will find polymers like this or not. Yeah, Sundus, Khadija,
Yes,
Gauri.
sir.
Okay, no? Chakrika hasn't joined today, no? No. So since it produces bioplastic, since they can produce natural polymers, so hence it offers a lot of potential for bioplastic manufacturing right now. So that is the case about it. Using it, we'll be able to create bioplastics. That's it. Now the advantage is that these will be biodegradable. These polymers will be biodegradable, meaning that if you want to decompose it, if you want to throw, basically, if it is no longer in use, it can be decomposed easily as compared to the plastics. Like plastics, it will take thousands and thousands, so many thousands of years plastics will take to decompose. Getting it now? Like imagine like how many years plastics will take to decompose. So just to give you a rough idea, it can take between somewhere around 500 to 1000 years to decompose. Okay, now. So that is the thing. And then we did talked about this cosmetics. It is used in cosmetics also. What is cosmetic basically? Any beauty product, right? Anyone, any clue like how we use algae in cosmetics? Yeah. See, basically, like in cosmetics, what kind of products are used? Like products like sunscreens are used, anti-aging liquids are used. Then you will be using like skin toners or moisturizing agents are used, or antioxidants are used, isn't it? Am I true? In order to prevent the tanning of the skin, such kind of products are used now. Yeah. So
Yes.
basically, you would be using algae for the same purposes. Algae are used for making the same products as well. It can be used for making of a uh, products that would prevent the tanning of the skin. It can be used to make sunscreens, antioxidants, right now, moisturizers. So that is the thing. Okay, now. Apart from that, dermatologists also prefer some dermatologists. You guys understand what is a dermatologist? Basically, a skin doctor, right now. So in the treatment of certain skin conditions also, algae are used. So it is used for making different kind of antioxidants. It is used for as a moisturizer. Then it is used to create cure some skin problems, to cure certain skin conditions. It is used. Then apart from that, nowadays you will be seeing that certain kind of shampoos and certain kind of body lotions also consist of algae in them. So you can add that also. Ever heard about this? Like algae is in some products, algae is used in shampoos also, in lotions also, in body lotions also. Yes. Is that clear
Yes,
to everyone or not?
clear.
Okay, now then let's understand like this how algae are used as food. So let's understand this also. Now, as we know that algae consists of different kind of nutrients in them, and algae are a rich source of protein. They consist of very good amount of protein, and those proteins are easily digestible by the human body right now. So thereby, in order to enhance the nutritional value of certain food products, algae is being added in it right now. For example, if there is some meat-based food, if there is some meat-based food or grain-based food, so in that algae is added in order to enhance the nutritional value. So this would be point number 5, no? Algae as food. So why we would be using it? Because they are a rich source of protein. So thereby they would be added in different foods to enhance the nutritional property. Is that clear to everyone or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then let's understand how they are used for prevention of pollution, or basically how they are used in prevention of pollution. See, although we have studied this earlier, like algae are known to cause water pollution. Yes, no? They are known to cause water pollution. Like algal bloom. Like if you were to look at these images, this one over here, this one is called as algal bloom. Yes, with lots of chemical fertilizers or lots of chemical substances ends up in the water bodies. So algae will start to grow on that, because those chemicals serves the nutrition to these, to the algae. And algae, while it will be growing, it will be reproducing and growing in this large quantity. It almost appears as if there's a green carpet laid above the water body. So it will be taking up all the oxygen from the water and killing the fishes and the aquatic plant. So it is one of the causes pollution. But say that you have got a water body. Let's say I have this water body and there are lots of chemicals in it. Say that there are no fishes in it right now. There are no fishes, no aquatic plants. No aquatic plants are found in it. And I want to get rid of the hazardous chemicals found in it. So what I need to do, what I can do, I can use the algae to get rid of those hazardous chemicals in it. Getting it what I'm trying to say? So suppose that you introduce some amount of algae in it. So those algae, and also know that you have so many hazardous chemicals in it. Actually, these hazardous chemicals are harmful for the fishes, for the aquatic plants, and for the humans, but they are actually a food for the algae. So what the algae will be doing now? They will start to break down the hazardous chemicals. They will be breaking down the hazardous chemicals right now. So that is the thing about it. And once they break down it and use it up, so thereby now also some human intervention is also important here. It's not like you will entirely depend upon the algae to clean the water. No, in the cleaning up of this water body, at the initial stage, you can take help of the algae to break down those hazardous chemicals so that the cleaning of water body becomes easier. And then in certain power plants, it has been I have seen that in certain power plants, algae is being used to reduce the carbon dioxide gas emission. Because, like, say that from the power plant, carbon dioxide gas is emitted out of the chimneys. And we know that algae is photosynthetic in nature now, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So, though the carbon dioxide gas emitted from the different power plants, they will be taken up by this algae right now. So we can reduce the carbon dioxide emission from the factories. Okay, now. So hope you guys have understood this point. Any questions
Yes,
so far?
sir.
Any questions?
No, sir.
Sundus to you, Khadija.
No, sir.
Okay, now. Also in exam, if question comes like write the uses of algae. If you just write this much of point, it is sufficient right now. But it is also important for us to have a general idea of how it is being used as fertilizers, how it is being used as bioplastics, how it is used for prevention of pollution. So that's why I have given you a general idea. Okay, now.
Okay, sir.
Hmm. Then you have another group of microorganisms called as protozoa. Okay, no? Okay. You guys tell me, have you guys heard of diseases like malaria? Malaria, a very common disease. Have you guys heard of this?
Yes, sir.
Hmm? Okay. Let's understand about this protozoa. Now, protozoa are a group of single cell microorganisms. They are unicellular, right? And they are classified as animals. They are classified as animals. Remember, previously we did talked about algae. Algae were classified as plants. Okay, now start from beginning. Like we did talk about bacteria. Bacteria is classified as, they are classified in, if you were to make broad divisions like animal kingdom and plant kingdom. So thereby you would be studying about bacteria in the animal kingdom. Let me tell you, like we did talked about flora and fauna. You guys understand about flora and fauna? So in that you would be studying about bacteria in the animal. Yes.
Can I leave early? I have to go outside.
Oh yes.
Can I leave early? I have to go outside.
Okay, no issues. So we did talk about bacteria. Then we did talked about this. We did talked about a fungi also. Then we did talk. Right now we are talking about the protozoa. So protozoa, they are unicellular microorganisms, and they are classified as animals, and they are animal-like organisms. Just like algae are plant-like organisms, so thereby protozoa are animal-like organisms. Talking about where do we find them? Some of them live independently while others live as parasites. So some of them can be found living alone. It can be found living in ponds, in lakes, or in dirty water drains, in rivers, in the seawater, or in the damp soil. So they can found to be living alone, that is independently, or they can be found to be living as parasites. Like it could be found living in the blood of human body, in the blood of certain animals. It can be found to be living in the blood of mosquitoes, right now. So that is the thing. In this image, you have few of the common protozoa. Like amoeba is there. Okay, now you have some common examples like you have amoeba, you have plasmodium and paramecium. These are some of the common examples of protozoa: amoeba, plasmodium, and paramecium. Okay, so what are the things we have studied so far about protozoa? First thing is that, yes, Gauri.
Sir, they are unicellular
Okay,
and
then
examples, these examples,
okay,
and sir, I remember these only.
okay. Sundus, you tell me, are they plant-like or animal-like organisms?
Yes, sir, they are animal.
They are animal-like organisms. Okay, you can found them. They can be found living independently, or they can be found to be living as parasites. Okay, now. Okay, where do you find them? Where you can find them? They can be found living in dirty water, damp soil. hmm, Found living in ponds, lakes, even in seawater, in dirty water, in damp soil. Damp soil means that soil which is having some moisture. Okay. Some common examples are amoeba, plasmodium, and paramecium. Apart from these, also these three, there are so many other protozoa also, but these are some of the common. Okay, now they are responsible for causing certain diseases also, right now. But before we discuss about those things, first of all, let's understand this thing, like why they are animal like. Why we say that they are animal like organisms. The reason, one of the reason to categorize them, to say that they are animal like organisms, is that just like animals have got limbs to move here and there, similar to that, they also have got limb like structures, or they can create limb like structures. Like in the case of amoeba, they can create false feet. If there's a food particle near to them, you know that they would be creating false feet to cover it, to engulf it, right? Now those are called as pseudopodia. Then you have another type of protozoa, like in which there will be structures like this. See, from their body, tiny thread like structures like this will be coming out. Those are called as cilia. So those type of protozoa are called as ciliates. Those type of protozoa that have got leg-like structures that allows them to move from here and there, these leg-like structures, they are called as cilia, cilia. Just like the false legs of amoeba were called as pseudopodia, so thereby the legs of the ciliates are called as cilia. You guys getting it or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So thereby you have another type of protozoa that would be having this tail-like structure that is called as flagella, and it will be helping it to move forward. So you can have different type of protozoas here. Okay, now not all of them is important. Our main focus will be on amoeba, plasmodium, and paramecium. Okay, now this I have told you, like why they are called as animal. Like this is one of the reason. There are several other reasons also, but this is one of the reason why they are uh, said to be as having such. Now, look at the structure of this paramecium. Okay, getting familiar with this term, the cilia. Moments ago we did talked about it. What is the purpose of cilia in paramecium? Hello. What is the use of cilia in paramecium? It helps it to move now. As moments ago I told you about cilia, that helps in locomotion, that helps in movement. So it helps the paramecium in movement now. Then later on, when we'll be continuing this chapter, we will study about what are the diseases that are spread by the different kind of protozoa. Like malaria is caused by protozoa, dysentery is caused by protozoa. Okay, now. So that is left to be discussed. What are the different type of diseases that are spread by protozoa? So we will cover that later on in the next class, in which we'll be studying about malaria. We'll be studying about African sleeping sickness. We'll be studying about malaria. So all